space was never truly silent. People liked to imagine it that way, an endless void where sound had no home, where only stillness ruled. But aboard the USS Resolute, you could feel space hum. It was there in the vibration of the hull, the rhythmic pulse of the reactor, the whisper of the ship's AI keeping systems aligned to atomic precision. It wasn't silence. It was anticipation, like the universe itself holding its breath. I was Captain Ryan Hale, commander of the Resolute, and the first human to cross into what the Galactic Concorde had claimed as protected territory. That word, protected, was a polite way of saying forbidden to you. Earth had received their message 6 months ago, a warning wrapped in arrogance. Your species has achieved faster than light travel. Impressive. But the Concorde maintains peace. Remain within your solar boundary or face correction. Correction. That was their word for annihilation. We didn't reply. We built one ship instead, just one. And we sent it with me aboard. The Resolute wasn't large. 200 meters long, matte black hull, no ornamentation. She wasn't built for diplomacy or defense. She was built to make a statement. When I arrived at the edge of the Concorde space, the alien fleet was already waiting, 50 warships arranged like a wall of metal gods, glimmering beneath the faint light of a nearby blue star. Their formation was artful, deliberate, a show of superiority. They weren't here to talk. They were here to laugh. "Transmission incoming," said Lieutenant Sarah Cole from the comms deck. Her voice was calm, steady, but I could hear the tension buried beneath it. "Put it through," I ordered. The bridge's holodisplay flared to life. A figure materialized, a tall, insectoid alien with a chitinous crown and pale blue eyes. The insignia of the Concorde shimmered behind it like a halo. "Human vessel," it began, its mandibles clicking in amusement. "You have entered restricted space. Power down your engines and prepare to be boarded. We will make this painless." Behind it, laughter rippled through its officers, a chorus of distorted echoes that carried smug confidence. They saw a single ship and assumed weakness. I didn't respond immediately. Instead, I glanced to my right, where Commander Avery Brooks stood beside me, my second-in-command and oldest friend. He gave a small nod, his eyes steady but gleaming with that dangerous curiosity humans were famous for. "Send them our identification code," I said quietly. Sarah hesitated. "Sir, that'll..." "Do it." She pressed the command. Across the void, the alien flagship received the code, and for a brief, fleeting moment, their expressions shifted from amusement to confusion. Then, realization. "This code, it cannot be," the alien commander hissed. "Impossible. That ship was." I cut the channel. "They know," Avery said. "They do," I replied, settling into my command chair. "And they're going to test if it's true." The Resolute's engines purred, cycling up through gravitic compression. The hull lights dimmed to combat mode. On the tactical display, alien ships began to reposition, forming a tightening sphere around us. They thought they were trapping us. They didn't realize they were standing in the center of the experiment. Sarah turned to me. "Captain, authorization codes for primary array?" "Level Omega," I said. Her eyes widened. "Sir, that'll activate the core." "I know." A hush fell across the bridge. Even the hum of the reactor seemed to fade, as though the ship itself was listening. The Resolute's core wasn't a weapon in the traditional sense. It was a testbed for a new form of energy manipulation, something derived from deep quantum mechanics, what the physicists back on Earth called dimensional resonance. I didn't understand all of it. I just knew one fact: if unleashed, it didn't just destroy targets. It erased them from space, from time, from every equation that remembered they'd existed. The aliens had laughed at our primitive engines and crude reactors. They had no idea what we'd found while clawing through the mathematics of the void. "Alien ships are charging weapons," Brooks reported. 50 signatures locked on us. Distance? 30,000 kilometers. They're closing. A pause. 10,000. the AI's voice cut through the tension. Resonance threshold at 98%. Awaiting final command. My hand hovered over the console. I thought, for a brief instant, about Earth, the blue sphere spinning in quiet defiance, unaware of how close it sat to extinction. I thought of my daughter, Ella, her last words before launch, "Promise me you'll come back." I wasn't sure I could. "Captain?" Brooks said softly. "Execute," I whispered. The stars vanished. For half a heartbeat, space folded in on itself. Every light, every photon, every flicker of existence bent inward toward the Resolute. The alien fleet froze mid-maneuver, their engines flickering, their comms filled with static as reality itself trembled. Then came the pulse. It wasn't light. It wasn't sound. It was something older, a low-frequency vibration that made the air taste like iron, that made your bones hum as if they remembered something ancient. The pulse rippled outward in a perfect sphere. And every alien ship it touched simply ceased to be. No explosion. No debris. Not even energy readings. They were gone. The pulse continued, expanding, fading, until only the Resolute remained in the void. 50 enemy ships, an entire fleet, erased in less than 5 seconds. The silence afterward was unbearable. Sarah's voice trembled. "Captain, the sensors, they can't find anything. Not wreckage, not radiation. It's like they were never here." Brooks looked at me, pale. "We just made an entire armada disappear." "No," I said quietly, watching the stars return. "We just showed them what happens when they underestimate humanity." But as the hum of the reactor stabilized, and the core began to cool, the ship's AI spoke again. "Captain Hale, dimensional feedback detected. Spatial stability compromised. Recommend immediate withdrawal." I frowned. "Explain." "Residual resonance remains in local spacetime. Unknown signatures emerging at the edge of detection." Brooks leaned forward. "Emerging? You mean returning?" "No," the AI said, its tone unnervingly human. "Something is waking up." The lights on the bridge flickered. And from the depths of the void, beyond human sensors, beyond physics itself, a whisper touched the edge of my thoughts. "You used what was ours." The hum of the Resolute changed. Subtle, almost imperceptible, but I felt it through the deck, a deeper vibration, as if the ship were no longer moving through ordinary space. Warning lights pulsed across the control panels. The bridge, moments ago bathed in victory's cold glow, now swam in red. The Resolute's AI spoke again, voice steady but tinged with something I'd never heard in its tone before, hesitation. "Captain Hale. Dimensional feedback is escalating. Local spacetime integrity is deteriorating." I stood, gripping the rail beside my command chair. "Status report." "Damage?" Lieutenant Sarah Cole scanned her console. "No physical damage, sir. But the readings don't make sense. The core's output dropped to 0, and yet there's energy. Everywhere." "Everywhere?" Brooks leaned over her shoulder, eyes narrowing. "It's not radiation. It's echoes. Residual quantum signatures, looping across higher dimensions. Whatever that pulse did, it left fingerprints all over the sector." I felt my stomach tighten. "Can we shut it down?" Sarah hesitated. "Sir, there's nothing to shut down. The core's off. This energy isn't ours anymore." The deck vibrated again, stronger this time. Somewhere deep within the ship, the metal groaned like a wounded beast. The Resolute's AI flickered across the main display, a calm female avatar, her expression unreadable. "Captain, long-range sensors detect activity at the edge of the system. Unknown mass signatures forming. Gravitational distortions consistent with multiple FTL transitions." "More Concorde ships?" Brooks asked. "No," I said before the AI could answer. "They wouldn't risk it. Not after what happened." The AI paused. "Correction, signatures do not match Concorde propulsion patterns. Composition, indeterminate. Energy output exceeds known galactic limits by 47 orders of magnitude. Sarah turned, face pale. That's impossible. I looked out through the forward viewport. The stars shimmered faintly, as though the void itself were bending. Not impossible, I said quietly. Just very old. In the quiet that followed, I could hear my own heartbeat. When we'd built the Resolute, the scientists back on Earth had argued endlessly about what the core really did. They'd said it was a weapon, yes, but also a door. A way to touch the unseen layers of the universe. No one had expected it to answer back. Captain, Brooks said suddenly. Incoming transmission. I frowned. From who? He swallowed. Every frequency. Every channel. Even the ones that shouldn't exist. The holodisplay flickered static at first, then an image began to form. Not an alien. Not a face. Not even light. It was darkness, a shape made of absence, rippling like smoke against stars. And then, from deep within that void, a voice. Children of Soul. You have taken the key. The sound wasn't through the speakers. It was inside my skull, every syllable vibrating through bone and thought alike. Sarah gasped, pressing her hands to her ears. Brooks staggered, blood trickling from his nose. I forced myself to stand, to face that impossible presence. Identify yourself. We are the architects. Long before your suns were lit, we carved the foundation of reality. The ones you erased were trespassers in our garden. The architects. The word carried weight. It felt ancient, something humanity wasn't meant to hear. Your kind wields what it does not understand, the voice continued. You reached into the dark and called our attention. The key is not for mortals. Brooks growled through clenched teeth. If you wanted it, you should have kept it buried. The entity's tone didn't change. You are bold. As were others before you. All are gone now. Do not repeat their folly. The image dissolved. The bridge went dark. Emergency lights flickered back on a moment later. The ship's systems rebooted, one by one, struggling under invisible strain. AI, report, I demanded. Reinitializing, it said faintly. Captain, navigation grid corrupted. External coordinates no longer match galactic maps. We are not where we were. Sarah looked up, eyes wide. Sir, I think we've been displaced. I walked to the viewport. The stars outside were wrong. Different constellations, unfamiliar patterns. In the far distance, a red nebula pulsed like a living heart. How far? I asked. Brooks checked the auxiliary systems, his voice hushed. Best guess? We're thousands of light years beyond Concord space. Maybe, outside the known galaxy entirely. The AI interrupted. Correction. Stellar analysis indicates we are not in standard spacetime. Gravitational constants fluctuate. Quantum lattice unstable. We are somewhere else. The weight of her words pressed into me like gravity itself. Somewhere else. Not another place, another state of being. The core had opened a door, and we'd walked through it without realizing. The architects hadn't dragged us here, we'd brought ourselves. And now, something was watching. Hours passed as the crew struggled to stabilize the ship. Systems rebooted. Power returned. But no matter what we did, the starfield outside kept shifting, a kaleidoscope of colors that didn't belong in any natural sky. At one point, I caught Sarah staring into the viewport, her face pale, her eyes unfocused. Lieutenant? I asked. She didn't respond. I stepped closer and saw what she was seeing. In the reflection of the glass, behind her own face, another shape stared back. Something vast. Humanoid, but wrong, a silhouette formed from mist in motion, standing amid the stars. When she blinked, it was gone. Captain, Brooks said, breaking the silence, what's the plan? if we can't find a way home. We will, I said firmly, though my voice felt hollow. We have to. Earth is waiting. He nodded, but I saw the doubt in his eyes. Whatever those things are, he murmured, they don't want us to go back. Maybe they can't let us. If that energy we used belongs to them. I turned to face the core chamber through the viewport, the massive containment structure glowing faintly blue behind reinforced glass. The energy within pulsed, alive. Like it was breathing. Maybe, I said, but if they built reality, they built limits too. And humans, I smiled faintly. We're good at breaking limits. Before Brooks could answer, alarms blared again. The AI's voice shouted over the noise. Contact detected. Non-physical entities approaching at relativistic velocity. Count increasing exponentially. Visual. The viewport flared white. Shapes poured through the void, translucent forms of light and shadow, humanoid but shifting constantly. They surrounded the Resolute, their movements eerily synchronized, like a dance of ghosts. The sensors couldn't lock on. Every scan returned static. Sarah whispered, "Are those?" "Yes," I said. "The architects." The largest of them drifted forward until it filled the viewport, a colossal silhouette whose eyes glowed like dying suns. "We gave you warning," it said, voice echoing through the hall. "Return the key, or your species will follow the others into silence." My heart pounded. If you wanted destruction, you'd have done it already. You came here because you're afraid. A pause. A ripple through the light. Fear is not for us. But we remember pain. Then, in a whisper that shivered through every atom of the ship. You will remember it too. And the universe tore open. The bridge lights flared, gravity fluctuated, and every console screamed with overloads. The Resolute's hull strained under impossible forces as the core came alive once more, not under our command, but theirs. We were being pulled somewhere deeper, beyond light, beyond thought. I gripped the armrest and shouted over the chaos, "All hands, brace for jump." The ship shuddered, twisted, then everything went black. I woke to silence. Not the silence of space, but something deeper, a silence that felt alive. The kind that waits, listens, and remembers. The bridge lights were gone. The usual hum of the Resolute's reactor was gone. Even the pulse of my heartbeat seemed muffled, as if the air itself were unwilling to carry sound. Then, slowly, vision returned. The bridge was still there, but wrong. Everything was weightless, suspended in pale blue mist. My crew floated beside me, motionless yet awake, their eyes wide with disbelief. Beyond the viewport, there were no stars. No planets. Only endless light. "Where are we?" Sarah whispered, her voice trembling. The AI's voice, faint and flickering, answered in a whisper. "Location indeterminate. Quantum constants incompatible with standard physics. We are outside the lattice of creation." Outside creation. The phrase hung in my mind like a verdict. Brooks steadied himself against the console. "Captain, we're alive, somehow." "But the core." He didn't finish. We turned together toward the core chamber. The containment glass was cracked. The energy inside, that impossible blue radiance, had expanded, spilling like mist across the floor, swirling and breathing. And within it, faint outlines moved, figures, tall, luminous, walking through the air like they owned it. The architects had come aboard. One stepped forward, more defined than the rest, a humanoid shape carved from pure starlight, its edges shifting with cosmic flame. When it spoke, every molecule in the room vibrated with its voice. You crossed the threshold between being and unbeing. You wielded the resonance, and in doing so, struck the void where we sleep. I steadied myself, forcing my voice to hold. You threatened my world. Your kind sent fleets to destroy us. I did what I had to do. The being regarded me, head tilting slightly, like a parent studying a child. You misunderstand. Those who came to you were not ours. They were scavengers, crawling through the dust of the universe we left behind. It turned its gaze outward, toward the stars that no longer existed. We built life. We left it to grow. But every age ends the same. Power found, power used, power lost. Its tone hardened, a flash of thunder rippling through its voice. And now you, human, hold the weapon that silences galaxies. I took a step forward, heart pounding. Then take it. If it's yours, take it back. The being's eyes burned brighter. It no longer belongs to us. The key bonds to will. It answers only to the species that awakens it. You are its bearer now, and its burden. Sarah's voice cracked behind me. Captain, look. The mist outside the ship shifted. Shapes moved, vast silhouettes in the light, entire civilizations preserved in the glow like fossils trapped in amber. I saw alien cities frozen in mid-collapse, entire fleets drifting in stillness, worlds suspended at the brink of death. There, Brooks whispered, they're gone. All of them. Yes, the architect said. Every species that reached too far. Every hand that grasped the key without wisdom. We warned them. We erased their traces from reality, leaving only echoes. Its voice softened then, almost mournful. And now humanity stands at the same edge. I stared out at the void of forgotten empires. So this is what you are, I said quietly. Not gods. Not creators. Custodians of a graveyard. The being's form flickered, light bending. Perhaps. But even we are bound by the symmetry of what was built. We cannot destroy the key. We can only judge those who wield it. And what's your judgment? I asked. For a long moment, the being didn't answer. Then, slowly, it raised a hand, and the light around us shifted. The bridge was gone. In its place stretched a vast, circular expanse, a plane of glass suspended over infinity. My crew stood beside me, staring downward. Beneath the glass, images flickered, Earth, spinning quietly in the dark. Cities glowing at night. Children playing beneath blue skies. The fragile hum of life that made us who we were. You would defend this world? The architect asked. I would die for it, I said. Would you erase others for it? The question struck like lightning. Images rippled beneath the glass, the Concorde fleet, dissolving in that impossible pulse. 50 ships. Thousands of lives. I had pulled the trigger. I had chosen. I did what I had to, I said, but my voice faltered. They would have destroyed us. Every destroyer believes the same. The words echoed, spreading outward through the void until even the stars seemed to flinch. I took a step forward. Then what's your alternative? You tell us to stay small? Stay scared? You call us children, but children grow up. You made creation, and maybe this is what it was made for. To surpass you. Silence. Then, impossibly, the light around the architect dimmed. You speak as we once did, it said softly. Before the silence claimed our kind. Something changed in the air. The other architects, those distant figures of light, began to fade, not retreating, but dissolving. The mist of their forms bled back into the core, merging with the pulsing energy. The lead architect reached out a hand, and the entire realm trembled. The key cannot be undone. But it can choose. It sees intent. It hears resolve. Its voice grew faint. We give it to you, Captain Ryan Hale. May your species bear its weight better than we did. Then it stepped forward and walked into me. The world exploded in light. Every sense, every thought, every boundary shattered. I saw stars being born and dying in the same instant, galaxies folding like paper, entire realities spinning apart. I saw Earth, our tiny, defiant world, glowing brighter than any sun. Then it was gone. And I was standing on the bridge again. The lights flickered back to normal. The hum of the reactor returned. The stars outside were the right stars this time, the Milky Way, familiar and vast. Sarah gasped, falling to her knees. We're back. Brooks checked the readings, disbelief in his eyes. Coordinates confirm it. Sol system. Captain, we're home. The AI chimed softly. All systems stable. Core output, null. The resonance has subsided. I looked toward the core chamber. The containment glass was whole again. The glow was gone. Only silence remained. But when I stepped closer, I saw something faintly carved into the inner surface, a single word, written in light that pulsed once and vanished. Remember. Later, as Earth's sun rose on the viewport, Brooks joined me on the observation deck. So, that's it, he asked. They're gone? No punishment, no invasion? I watched the sunrise. No. They didn't judge us. They passed the torch. He frowned. And what do we do with it? I thought about the architects, about their warning, about the power that now slept somewhere within the ship's memory, waiting for a will strong enough to call it again. Maybe, I said quietly, we learn. Maybe for once in history, humanity learns before it burns. Brooks gave a tired smile. And if we don't? Because somewhere, far beyond the reach of stars, I knew the architects were still listening. And if humanity ever forgot what we'd done here, the universe would remind us.